All right. So today it's Monday, July 7th, is it? So I'm on my way to work. My bike commute, Plano, Texas. Now, I ride my bike every day to work. It's about 4.5 miles away, but it's about 6 miles for me, just because of the route I take. I am a committed cyclist, cycle commuter. So it was important to me to find a way to get here, and I heard that Plano and Texas was one of the worst. Well, Texas was one of the worst places in the country to bike commute, to get around by bike. Now, there's definitely some caveats regarding this. Morning. There are already cyclists out. So Plano is a pretty big city, and it's a suburb. We've got over 100 miles of recreational trails through parks, along electrical transmission pathways, etc. And then we've got over 150 miles of designated cycleways. Now these cycleways are not separated or even painted cycle lanes or anything like that. They are simply roads that the city has determined designated as cycle lanes, and usually they're they're 4 or 6 lane roads, going both ways. And the outer lane is one that cyclists can ride in, routinely. Now, when I talk to people before coming here, and also since coming here, everybody I ask is a cyclist. I say, do you get around by bike? And do you ride on these trails by yourself? And almost everybody says no. Morning. Interestingly, already seen 2 cyclists through the neighborhoods here. They say you're taking your life in your hands if you ride on these cycle lanes without a group. So there is safety in numbers. Now that's a well-known fact. And I have, since moving here, joined the Plano Bike Association, which is a great group of people that gets together. They have probably over 30 rides a week. Really good group of people. Safety focused. It's my first larger road crossing here. I don't cross at the light. I cross away from the light. Up there's the light, just because I want to stay out of the intersections that are controlled. It seems like controlled intersections, and the slightly busier roads carry more people. I'm going off a little tangent here, but that road up there was Ventura, which was a cycle lane. The one I'm on was on and crossed here is not. My preference, because these cycleways are, though designated for cyclists, not something that individual cyclists would want to ride on, especially during rush hour, I avoid them. And because I avoid them, it's taken me a little time. It took me about a week or 2 to really come up with the ideal route. Right over there is a cycleway. And I think I have a decent route. In Plano, because there are so many, it is very car dependent, but one of the good things about being car dependent is there's a lot of roads. And the roads, just like parking, are overbuilt. They're built for the high capacity So that means many of the roads are pretty quiet. So most of my route is focused on going through residential areas. Now, one of the downsides of the suburban areas in Dallas here is the residential areas are kind of made up of enclaves. And although they're not, I don't know, they don't seem to be as, you know, walled off as many of the new neighborhoods, say in Florida, they're pretty walled off. They often don't have connecting infrastructure for pedestrians and cyclists to get through or between neighborhoods. If you want to get through or between neighborhoods or get outside of the neighborhood, you have to go onto a feeder route, a feeder road, which is something you don't want to do. So here, I'm on Preston. Preston's probably one of the biggest north-south lanes. And again, I'm crossing here away from the lights just because I think it's safer. Now, I do a kind of a half and half cross here. I'll look and make sure it's safe to go halfway. And rather than going in the middle, parking myself in the middle, I often park myself over here and wait in this spot to cross. It feels a little safer when there's traffic. Again, probably not the best thing in the world crossing a lane like that, because as you can see right now, given the timing of some of the lights, you often can get a huge gap from both directions. Because there's not continuous flow on these roads. So I'm able to have a big gap and cross. Now I'm moving on to Coventry, which actually is one of the designated cycleways. And this is probably one of the smaller, more narrow cycleways. Again, it's a pretty residential area, generally quiet. Not a lot of cars. And in my experience, drivers, at least in the Plano area, are really fabulous. I mean, I don't get buzzed. I don't get anybody telling me to get up on the sidewalk, which is actually illegal here, and I do it. I don't get people coal rolling me. I don't get punishment passes here generally. Now this is back onto, this is a cycleway here too. So, see, I avoided behind me the bigger intersection, but I am using the cycleway. So again, nice, pretty quiet residential areas that are going parallel to the larger roads. So only the people that are living in these areas and or landscapers are on the roads. Car's gonna pass me on the back and the left here. I have become very fond of my rear view mirror, and I watch it a lot, because my biggest risk here is somebody just not realizing there's a cyclist and not paying attention. This reminds me, I think I didn't turn on my light. I'll have to check at the stop sign. So yeah, it's the biggest risk, somebody coming from behind me, not realizing I'm here looking around, because that's the other thing is, there's not many solo cyclists riding around, especially outside of neighborhoods. Okay, the lights are on. So they're not used to seeing us. In the mornings, in the evenings, Saturdays and Sundays, there's large groups of cyclists, mostly from the Plano Bike Association, but Frisco rides around here too. So they see large groups. Generally the groups are going to be 15 to 25, don't like this. And lots of, high vis and lights and a big mass of people. And we ride in a very disciplined manner. Oh. See, that guy just turned kind of last minute to get around me. But I mean, there's plenty of space. You know, what, one car has passed me so far? So, generally quiet roads. You can see the Route 35. Now here's a spot where I lose my cycleway, and because to my right there's a huge enclave that's blocked off, I can't go through residential streets. So I have to go around them a little bit. I sneak through the gas station here because, again, I hate intersections, those big intersections. That's where everybody's pay attention to all the other cars and not paying attention to pedestrians and cyclists. So I just completed some construction here. I gotten used to being on the sidewalk here, and honestly, the sidewalk here is much safer. I wouldn't want to be out there. It's a busier road. People are not really looking for cyclists. So what that does is puts me up on the footpath or sidewalk here. Now again, in Texas, unless it's specifically disallowed, you can ride on footpaths. The path is kind of left now. On your left. Morning. Now I haven't had too much flack from pedestrians when I'm riding on the sidewalk. Generally up here I go up into the residential area and into the driveway near the Glen Eagle Country Club. Crappy sidewalk there. Just because I don't have to worry about the cars on the other side there turning right. It's, you know, one less intersection, and this is pretty quiet up here. I guess I could go on this footpath, this path over here on the left. It's a short little bit of, and it looks like it's a mixed-use path, meaning it's wider, 2.5, 3 meters, probably 2.5 meters maybe. So it's wider than a typical footpath, and that will continue on. I could take that, but generally speaking, you know, footpaths, bike paths are not set up. See, I have to deal with this intersection right here again, which I kind of like to avoid that. So it's funny, this whole path, I mean, that's why it took me a couple weeks to figure out exactly how I like to go, because it involves, I could be in 3 different spaces here, or 4 actually. I could be on the footpath, I could be on the shared use path, I could be going through that parking lot, I could go through this road. And I've looked at all of them, and this feels like the safest because it's got most visibility. It's straight, it avoids intersections, and I can join the intersection down here again. And now I'm back onto a section of, again, this looks like mixed-use path, so not bad. I mean, you know, people say, hey, cyclists, you got mixed-use path, you know, you got a route, and this is okay. This concrete, you know, every slab here gives you a little jolt, and then they adjust, they move around as the ground shifts underneath them. So it's not the smoothest thing, especially for a road bike. I'll be happy once I get I might actually start commuting with my mountain bike, just because it's more comfortable. It's not as fast, but it's got wider tires, big poofy tires, got front suspension. It's a hardtail. But I've got a rack and panniers in the back, so I can do my shopping and carry my stuff. I don't have to carry this backpack. I can't believe how many commuters use backpacks. It's like the standard thing, and it's redonkulous, especially a place like Dallas. I mean, it's humid this morning. It's not hot yet, but it's humid. So I mean, it's what, 8 in the morning. I'm still just icky. So now I'm turning on Willow Bend here. This is another designated cycleway through here. You know, it's supposed to be a bit quieter. Beautiful houses through here. And so one of the benefits of commuting through neighborhoods is watching the cars behind me. Is you have access. I mean, this is beautiful. These houses are beautiful. Trees up and down here are beautiful. You know, people are friendly. When I ride by, I always say hi. I mean, look at some of these houses. This one over here. This one over here is crazy. Huge. So I just gotta keep an eye behind me. Mostly this time of day, it's gonna be landscaping people. And I don't know, I think landscaping people have been pretty good. I don't know, they're always conscientious. You know? I mean, their customers are in the neighborhoods they're driving through, so they don't want to piss anybody off and get a bad reputation. But, you know, they're good. Now, so as a cyclist, cycle commuter, a couple things. One, other than a gas station, probably noticed, I noticed, there hasn't been any other destinations. Now, had I been on the main roads, there would be some destinations. They're all strip malls. Which, I don't know, I think after spending time in Europe and also living in Cambridge, I've become a little spoiled in that the places you live and work have destinations. And they're accessible on a human scale, meaning you can walk to them, you can bike to them, you see your neighbors there. Morning. Here you'll see neighbors, but just if they're out walking their dog, out for a bike, or out walking the dog, mostly walking. Again, not a lot of cyclists. Saw two. But not for a bit here. Got people walking their dogs. So, I mean, this is very pleasant for somebody like me who's confident, comfortable, you know, with a dedicated, I don't know which category I'm in. I'm not quite fearless, but I'm competent and confident. So I'm gonna ride on roads like this but I'm gonna try to do my best to find the best route. And it doesn't just happen naturally. You know, you don't just go out your door and go, oh look, there's a good route to where I want to go in the mode I prefer to use. It does if that mode is driving. That's it. If you want to take a bus, train, bike, or walk to a place that's not another neighbor's house, or park. They've got good park system there. But you're gonna have to get in a car if you want to do any of that easily. And you're not enticing, this sort of system is not enticing lots of new people to take up cycling. Again, the generation of Americans that's around right now has grown up in the era of cars. It's how we organize our lives. We choose our homes and our workplaces by what's drivable. And again, given telecommuting, we're not even doing that. So we're getting even more separated rather than aggregating into cities where we can interact with one another. People are moving away from one another, becoming less engaged. Telecommuting, they're not even seeing their neighbors walking their dogs. Morning. When I say good morning to people, like that lady, I don't know how many people are really accustomed to anybody saying good morning. They don't know you. We just ignore them. On this road, you'll see some cars passing me. I got the right of way, so I'll go. You'll see some cars passing me. So there I did a Idaho stop. I didn't put my foot down. I took turns. I let him go, or he let me go because I had the right of way. But I didn't stop completely because that would just slow him down. Now you'll see people pass me here. That was a nice pass. Moved over across the center line, even though it's a really wide road. Part is because there's construction right here. He wanted to get past me. I'll take the lane here. I don't want anybody trying to pass me here in this narrow spot. And there's a giant hole right there. And then I'll move back over. Morning. That was nice. See? I think it tends to be men or people coupled tend to be nicer for dogs. And I think women are just a little more nervous because, you know, there's more inherent risk. I'm gonna cross over here and take a left. Now before I was taking a right. Now this Parkwood here is a designated cycle lane too. Cycleway. I generally avoid it because it's pretty busy. So here's where I'm gonna do the halfway thing. Halfway. So I go halfway because it's clear from my left. And then I hide right here, this little spot. I got some space each direction. I feel safe enough. But again, I mean, this is this 6-lane road here. It's a designated cycleway. So I'm gonna take a left here and I'm gonna go down the cycleway. So this guy's turning, oh no. And I haven't had too much trouble. And most of the time, I get enough of a gap because of lights where people are not, drivers are not having too much of a problem with me and they can pass me by moving out of my lane. I say my lane means the lane I'm in. I don't own this lane. I own the space that I'm in. So like this guy pulls right out. Now some people might look at it and go, was that kind of an aggressive punishment pass? No, he was just trying to get past me because there was cars coming behind him. So he just wanted to move quick. There's a tendency to believe that anybody in a truck doesn't like anybody on a cycle and vice versa. Well, somebody come up from behind me. If you hold that theory, you're going to dislike a lot of people. Now this guy's behind me is not getting out of my lane. He's slowing down, kinda, but he's not. He's coming up fast behind me too. Now he's slowing a little bit. Okay, he sees me, which is good, because I can always bail to the right if I have to, dive onto the grass. Now, Chapel Hill here is not a cycle lane, but it does cross underneath the tollway up here, and it crosses at a relatively quiet area. Because to the north and the south, it's a lot busier. So this is, even though I don't like this, you know, these are busy roads right here. It's not my favorite. I don't feel happy about being here. I gotta watch myself here because people are gonna take a right turn. I gotta look, I gotta wave. Can't see into the cars, that's the other problem. Is I was able to see through because there was light shining from the other side. The tinted windows though, I can't tell if drivers were looking at me or not. But I vaguely got a hint that person was looking at me and they gave me a wave, which is awesome. A+ driver behavior. Taking it right here in communication. Again, this. So the other road on the other side was the cycleway. The other road on the other side of the tollway going north-south was a cycleway. But It's a very busy road. And this is not a cycleway. But it's generally much quieter. There's 3 lanes, and I usually get passed by 2 or 3 cars in this entire stretch. So it's not bad. Like that car was in the middle, the car that's passing me now is in the far left lane. It's awesome. And this is a nice smooth road for the most part. So I enjoy it. I have no other cars passing me. I gotta watch the ins and the outs here. Egress, ingress. Make sure nobody's coming in and out or crossing or pulling into a parking lot. Same thing up here. It's funny. It's like this guy here. He's waiting. He's waiting. Thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Terrible bus stop. Oh, yeah. So here, and I gotta watch for this water here. See that, guys? Need to pass me. So here I gotta watch myself because the parking lot, and nobody's expecting cyclists driving through this parking lot. And here we are at work. Hop in, and head on up. That's my ride. Not bad. I have a shower inside. I can park my bike in the office. It's pretty nice. So all in all, not a bad commute if you can figure out how to do it. Again, if you're committed to doing it. Normal people, the interested but concerned, none of them would ever do any of this. No chance. So it's going to remain probably around the 1% or less commuting rate in an area like this until somebody changes the infrastructure.